apprentices. The college asks that everyone keep an eye out for the previous group of apprentices who had gone missing. As yet, no information has become available. If anyone has any information regarding Yisra, Ilaste, Borver or Runde, please speak with me at once. Vinicius store. Okay.
Heard about you and your honeyed words. All right then.
Right, let's go and see if Toolstayer's got to say. A looting party. Globes at him. Whatever they gave her, but she's not wear her own clothes.
You are new here, are you not? We have not spoken.
No, we haven't.
Then allow me to introduce myself. I am Savos Arin, Archmage of the College of Winterhold. I am quite content to see nearly any aspect of magic explored and investigated here. But I do not and will not approve of any research or experiments that cause purposeful harm to your fellow members of the college. Are we clear?
Dangerous research must be a problem here, then.
Not often, no. Some risks must be taken, to be sure. I am simply trying to avoid untimely deaths. We also must make an effort to avoid worsening what Skyrim thinks of us.
So what's the purpose of the college?
Purpose? I should think it's self-evident. Magic is a true power, not something to be shunned by commoners, or treated as an amusing diversion by politicians. It shapes worlds, creates and destroys life. It deserves proper respect and study. The college is a place where we can focus on that, without the pressures of the world weighing down on us.
I'd like to know more about the college's history.
I've seen documents dating back to the late Second Era. Beyond that, it's hard to say. Events in the last several hundred years resulted in a significant loss of our history, I'm afraid.
So what happened in the last few hundred years?
The Great Collapse, as it has come to be known. An unfortunate natural disaster that ravaged the area. The college fared far better than the city of Winterhold, but it was not left untouched.
What caused the Great Collapse?
No one is sure of the cause. Some believe the eruption of Red Mountain had far-reaching consequences that were only felt years later. I know there are some who have blamed the college, said that we were responsible. I assure you this is not the case.
Any more of it?
The Sea of Ghosts practically came alive. No one was expecting it. Monstrous waves battered the shore for weeks on end. Winterhold was ancient and weathered, but it couldn't withstand the sea's fury. Entire districts of the city were lost overnight. The waves receded in time, but the damage was irreversible. Most residents of Winterhold abandoned what was left of the city. The college survived, and so here we remain.
Right.
Another new apprentice, I see. Are you of the sort that believe you're here to change the world? Or are you only in it for yourself? I assure you that I shall be watching you, all of you, very closely.
What was that conversation with Mirabelle about?
Your superior and I were simply having a discussion about my level of access to the college.
There's some kind of a problem?
Nothing you need to concern yourself with. I shall be quite capable of observing everything that goes on here.
What is it you do here, actually?
I am an advisor to the Archmage. The Thalmor wish to promote relations with your college. I am at the Archmage's disposal if he requires advice.
Does the Archmage often ask for advice?
Perhaps not as often as he should. In time, I believe he will be more trusting.
I'd like to know more about the Thalmor.
Now that stability has been established between the Dominion and the Empire, we seek only to help Skyrim, to guide its people through this time of transition, to help lead them to a better future.
Quentyl will take that with a pinch of salt. Now,
Welcome, welcome. We were just beginning. Please, stay and listen. So, as I was saying, the first thing to understand is that magic is, by its very nature, volatile and dangerous. Unless you can control it, it can and will destroy you.
Sir, I think we all understand that fairly well. We wouldn't be here if we couldn't control magic.
Of course, my dear, of course. You all certainly possess some inherent natural ability. That much is not being questioned. What I'm talking about is true control, mastery of magic. It takes years, if not decades, of practice and study.
Then what are we waiting for? Let's get started.
Please, please. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Eagerness must be tempered with caution, or else disaster is inevitable.
But we've only just arrived here. You've no idea what any of us are capable of. Why not give us a chance to show you what we can do?
You've been quiet so far. What do you think we should do?
we'll just go on with it. I think we should learn something practical. We're here to learn, are we not?
Is that so?
See, she agrees with us too. Why don't you actually show us something?
Yes.
All right, let's settle down.
Totally blithering.
I suppose we can try something practical. In continuing with our theme of safety, we'll start with wards. Wards are protective spells that block magic. I'll teach you all a ward, and we'll see if you can successfully use it to block spells, all right? Would you mind helping me with the demonstration? Are you at all familiar with ward spells?
I have a war spell, but I've never really used it.
That's what this lesson is for. Perfect time to try it out. Now, if you'll just stand right over there, I'll cast a spell at you, and you block it with the ward. Here we go. Over there, please, just opposite me. Wouldn't want anyone else in the way. Now, cast the ward spell, and keep it up.
Let's see. Can't remember which one it was. Right.
You have to keep your ward up, or else this won't work. I don't want to hurt you. Over there, please, just opposite me. Wouldn't want anyone else in the way.
Well, get on with it, man. Honestly, over
Now,
here.
cast the ward spell and keep it up. Hold still. Excellent work. Well, I think this is an excellent start. I'd like you all to continue practicing with wards, please.
Piddling man.
I think perhaps we're ready to begin exploring some of the various applications of magic throughout history. The college has undertaken a fascinating excavation in the ruins of Sarthal nearby. It's an excellent learning opportunity. I suggest we meet there in a few hours and see what awaits us inside. That's all for now. Thank you.
Oh, it was a boring lesson that was.
Before you even ask, yes, I have an ancestry steeped in magic, and no, I don't want to talk about it. Yes, I know Winterhold used to be full of my kind, and no, I don't care that they're all gone now. Does that cover everything?
We haven't really been introduced, have we?
No, I suppose we haven't. Brillina Marion of House Telvanni. First of my family to leave Morrowind in a long time. Now I'm here to study conjuration. That's what's important.
Ah, good. You know anything about Sarthal?
Not really. Just that it's very, very old. It was one of the first cities of men in Tamriel, I think.
Whatever used to Quentyl the Dark Elves did it.
Didn't you know? Before the Oblivion Crisis, many elves called Winterhold their home. More visited the college from Morrowind every year. After, growing distrust of magic made life difficult for many. Some left rather than endure the growing hatred from the local Nords. Others returned home after the Red Year, when Vardenfell erupted and caused much destruction. Winterhold itself died in the years between then and now. What's left out there is a husk. Only the college really remains.
What do you know about when Cano over there?
I know I don't like the way he looks at me. I can't tell if he expects me to blow myself up or to try and murder him. But he clearly doesn't trust any of us.
Yeah, it's the eyes. Do you like it here at the college?
So far. If only because no one is telling me how great I ought to be. I just want to learn. I don't want to think about what's expected of me. Until next time.
Yeah, whatever. Okay. I guess it over here somewhere, is it not? Oh well, never mind. Oh. Oh, see a thing there. Oh. doors go? Alright, that's the other door up the stairs.
Mirabelle does a fine job as Master Wizard, I suppose. Still, there's always room for improvement. It's been a pleasure.
Enchanting services are one of the few things that keep us in touch with the rest of Skyrim.
Can you train me in enchanting?
You've come to the right place. I'd be happy to teach you.
Oh yes, right, okay. Anything I can help with?
In fact, there is. I need a soul gem filled, if you're up to it.
Oh yes, I can certainly do that.
Here, take this grand soul gem. Fill it for me, and bring it right back. I'll be waiting. All right, then. The local Nords may not like us very much, but they don't seem to mind having access to enchanted weapons and armor.
It's something enchanted.
I'm sure you can figure it out on your own. If you can't, perhaps Urag has a book you can read.
Why can you do it?
No, I can't. I have enough to keep me busy. View it as a chance to hone your craft.
Anyway, here's that soul gem you asked for. I filled it up for you. Oh, right, wait a minute. Reload there and get the log bug out of the way.
Enchanting services are one of the few things that keep us in touch with the rest of Skyrim.
Imagine fill up that soul gem that you wanted me to fill up.
Excellent, thank you. I'll see that this gets put to good use.
Good. Anything else?
I need some more supplies. Can you help out with that?
What do you say you need?
I'm running low on grand soul gems.
Oh.
I need at least 5 more, if you can find them.
I actually have M5 gems.
So you do. Thank you. This will help quite a bit.
Nice. Any water by chance?
Of course.
Anything else I can help with?
There's more enchanting to be done. You can acquire whatever it is and bring it back here, and I'll take care of it.
Okay then.
All right, be quick about it, will you? This is a good way for the college to bring in some money. Here's the name and location of the client.
Raven Rock. Right. It's all money, I suppose, isn't it?
You can see me?
Of course I can.
Confound it all, I was quite sure I was invisible. Or at least transparent.
So you're an illusionist then, so which are the best illusion spells?
Oh my, that's quite a difficult question. Never underestimate the ability to influence others. Whether they're friends or foes, they're almost all susceptible to illusion spells.
They can turn the tide of a battle in a moment's notice. There are also spells that help in avoiding conflict altogether. Invisibility is tricky to master, but exceptionally useful.
It is. We also did learn about illusion magic.
You have gone beyond my teachings, which is quite a feat. I did not think it possible, but there is always more to learn. I believe you are ready for the next step.
What is the next step?
Knowledge of truly powerful illusion spells is here at the college, but it is hidden from those who might misuse it.
Oh, really?
I shall teach you a spell to discern things hidden from others. With it, you will be able to acquire the texts you need. Bring all 4 to me, and I shall use them to inscribe the spells for you.
Interesting. Right. College business you can assist with?
There may be a matter in which your skills could be useful. The various points of focus for magic energies around the college have become polluted and need cleansing.
Okay then.
Very well. These specially enchanted gloves will allow you to delve directly into the focal points for these energies. Go to each focal point and remove whatever impurities you may find there. Return the gloves to me when you have finished. Please exercise caution. This is not a procedure without possible consequences.
It's like tuning gloves. Okay then. Look nice though. She's talking to us, looking at her mother. He's staring at that mystical pool all day, isn't he? Don't trust him. College is fine, but that's the rest of it. Cold, dreary place.
What is it? Dragons?
You know, they say knowledge is its own reward.
Your focal points have been cleansed.
Yes, they have. I can feel the difference already. But, of course, I'm far more in tune with these sorts of things than most. Thank you. I appreciate your assistance.
Okay.
Take care, friend.
Hello, friend.
Until next time.
Carry on, I think. Ooh, nice library.
If you require assistance with summoning techniques, please let me know. If you would, please also contain your summons to the college grounds. The locals do not need to be agitated further by Atronachs roaming their town. The summoning of undead is even less advisable outside the college.
Summoning undead isn't frowned upon?
I sure know. Those archaic policies died out with the Mages Guild, and were never enforced here. Necromancy, as any other type of magic, is a tool to be used. Of course, non-mages may not see it that way, so we don't go around flaunting it.
Are there many conjurers outside the college?
Not within society, no. Many who practice within the School of Conjuration do so on their own, secretly. Phalion is the only one I know who is public about what he does. He was once my teacher here, but left the college years ago.
Why did Phalion leave the college?
He didn't like the Archmage, hated dealing with him, hated having to answer to him. Phalion said he hated what this place was becoming, so he just left. Aron found a note on his desk, and that was it. I understand he settled down in Hjalmarch, and his presence there caused something of a problem.
You posted a notice about some missing apprentices.
Ah, that, yes. The group prior to yours has disappeared entirely. It's possible that there was less than the necessary amount of oversight. That's still being looked into. But we've had no contact with them for quite some time now. Arniel wondered if perhaps they'd somehow managed to get themselves lost in the Outer Realms. But I think that's giving them too much credit.
How long have they been missing?
I hadn't really considered it in terms of time. I suppose it's been at least a month. Let me think. What were they working on? As I recall, Ysra was trying to improve flame cloak spells to better work in Skyrim's harsh environment. Elos Tai was practicing illusion spells. She was having trouble with the calm spells, I believe, but only ever worked with skeevers. And then there's Borvir and Rundi, twins, though they rarely agreed on anything. Those two boys were obsessed with mead, convinced they could concoct something to compete with Honningbrew. Something about using frost magic to chill the mead for a certain period of time. I felt it was a waste, but the Archmage let them proceed.
Right, okay.
Now, if you'll excuse me.
You are now in the Arcanium, of which I am in charge. It might as well be my own little plane of oblivion. Disrupt my Arcanium, and I will have you torn apart by angry Atronachs. Now, do you require assistance?
This is quite an impressive library.
A mage is only as good as what he knows. I try to make sure as much knowledge is available as possible. We've been keeping this collection since the Second Era. Books have come and gone during that time, but it's mostly intact.
You take your work very seriously.
Of course I do. If I didn't, most of these books would have been burned to ashes or dissolved to nothing before the Third Era. Mages need to be reminded to be careful around research materials.
Yeah, I'm looking for an Elder Scroll.
And what do you plan to do with it? Do you even know what you're asking about?
Of course I do. Do you have one here?
You think that even if I did have one here, I would let you see it? It would be kept under the highest security. The greatest thief in the world wouldn't be able to lay a finger on it.
Do you at least have any information on them?
Of course. I'll bring everything we have on them. But it's not much. So don't get your hopes up. It's mostly lies, leavened with rumor and conjecture.
Okay. Any special books you're looking for?
As a matter of fact, there are. Have you ever heard of Shalador? Immensely powerful mage, back in the First Era. Had an understanding of magic few have ever matched. He holed himself up in Labyrinthian, and devoted all his time to research and study, but more than you would imagine possible. Since then, his writings have been scattered all over Skyrim, but are little use to anyone who can't translate them. I'm one of the few who can. I've heard whispers of more of his work having turned up. If you can track it down, it may prove useful to all of us.
Okay. Any college business I can assist with?
If you're feeling adventurous, I'm always looking for someone to procure valuable books from some more dangerous locations.
Yeah, okay then.
Well, all right. Here. I scribbled down the last place I'd heard about. Check it out, but be careful.
Where's your scooters last take? Right. You got for sale.
I have a few things laying around that weren't worth adding to the collection. You may look through them.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I don't want to see you treating any of these books poorly. Are we clear?
Okay. Ah, the similarly give the books, eh? Must have went to the shelf to get them. Fetch the Elder Scrolls. Yeah. It's widely known among scholars that the Elder Scrolls contain a certain hazard in their reading. The mechanism of the effects has at present been largely unknown. Theories of hidden knowledge and divine retribution were the subject of idle speculation with little investigation. I, Justinius Paulinius, have undertaken to thoroughly document the elements reflected by the Elder Scrolls on their readers, though a unified theory of how they manifest continues to elude me and remains a subject for future study. I have grouped the effects into four, finding that the avenue of experience depends largely upon the mind of the reader. If this is unclear, I hope that a proper dichotomy will lay it plain. Group the first, the nails. For one who has received no training in the history of the scrolls, the scroll itself is effectively inert. No prophecy can be ascribed nor knowledge obtained. While the scroll will not impart learning to the uninformed, nor will it afflict them in adverse fashion. Visually, the scroll will appear to be awash in odd lettering and symbols. Those who know their astronomy often claim to recognise constellations in the patterns and connections, but such conjecture is impossible to further investigate, since the very nature of this study necessitates all their subjects. Group the second, the unguarded intellects. It is the second group that realises the greatest danger from attempting to read the scrolls. These are subjects who have an understanding of the nature of the Elder Scrolls and possess sufficient knowledge to actually read what is inscribed there. They have not, however, developed adequate discipline to stave off the mind-shattering effect of having a glimpse of infinity. These unfortunate scouts souls are struck immediately, irrevocably and completely blind. Oof. Such is the price for overreaching one's faculties. It bears mentioning, though, that with the blindness also comes a fragment of that hidden knowledge. Whether the future, the past, or the deep natures of being is dependent on the individual and their place in the greater spheres, but the knowledge does come. Group the third, mediated understanding. Alone in Tamriel, it would appear that only the cult of the Ancestor Moth has discovered the discipline to properly guard one's mind when reading the scrolls. Their novitiates must undergo the most rigorous mental cultivation, and they often spend a decade or more at the monastery before being allowed to read their first Elder Scroll. The monks say this is for the initiate's own protection, as they must have witnessed many unguarded intellects among their more eager ranks. With appropriate fortitude, these readers also receive blindness, though at a far lesser magnitude than the unguarded. Their vision fogs slightly, but they retain shape, colour, and enough acuity to continue to read mundane texts. The knowledge they gain from the scroll is also tempered somewhat. It requires stages of meditation, and reflection to fully appreciate and express what one saw. Group the fourth, illuminated understanding. Between the previous group and this one exists a continuum that has at present only been traversed by the monks of Ancestor Moth. With the continued readings, the monks become gradually more and more blind but receive greater and more detailed knowledge. As they spend their waking hours pondering the revelations, they also receive a further degree of mental fortitude. There is for every monk a day of penultimate reading, and the only knowledge the Elder Scroll imparts is that the monk's next reading shall be his last. For each monk, the penultimate reading comes at a different and unknowable time. Preliminary work has been done to predict the occurrence by charting the severity of an individual monk's blindness. Results who reach these later stages report that the increasing blindness seems to taper with increased readings. Some pose the notion that some other unseen sense is in fact continuing to diminish at this upper range, but I shall leave such postulations to philosophers. To prepare for his ultimate reading, a monk typically withdraws to seclusion in order to reflect upon a lifetime of revelations and appoint his mind for the reception of his last. Upon his final reading, he is forever blinded, as sure as those unguarded ones who race to knowledge. The illuminated one, though, has retained his understanding over a lifetime and typically possesses a more integral notion of what has been revealed to him. It is hoped that this catalogue will prove useful to those who wish to further their immortal understanding of the Elder Scrolls. The Moth priests remain aloof about these matters, taking the gradual debilitation that comes with reading as a point of pride. May this serve as a useful starting point for those hoping to take up such study. Dictated to Anstius Metrium, 4th of last seed in the 126 year of the Second Era. Excuse me. Scrolls. Ruminations on the Elder Scrolls by Sector Sickness College of Winterhold. Imagine living beneath the waves with a strong-sighted blessing of most excellent fabric. Holding the fabric over your gills, you would begin to breathe to drink its warp and waft. Though the plant matter filters be your soul, the wretched plankton would pollute the cloth until it stank to heavens of prophecy. This is one manner in which the scrolls first come to pass, but are we the sea, or the breather, or the fabric? Or are we the breath itself? Can we flow through the scrolls as knowledge flows through being the water, or are we the stuck morass of sea filth that gathers on the edge? Imagine again this time but different. A bird cresting the wind is lifted by a gust and down by a stone. But the stone can't come from above if the bird is upside down. Where then did the gust come from, and which direction? Did the gods send either, or has the bird decreed their presence by her own mind-making? The all-sight of the scrolls makes a turning of the mind such that relative positions are absolute in their primacy. I ask you again to imagine for me, this time you are beneath the ground. A tiny acorn planted by some well-meaning elf maiden of the woodlands for her pleasure. You wish to grow but fear what you may become, so you push off the water, the dirt, the sun to stay in your hole. But it is in the very pushing that you become a tree in spite of yourself. How did that happen? The acorn is a kind of tree egg in this instance, and the knowledge is water and sun. We are the chicken inside the egg, but also the dirt. The knowledge from the scrolls is what we push against to become full-size ourselves. One final imagining before your mind closes from the shock of being annoying. You are now a flame burning bright blue within the vast emptiness. In time you see your brothers and sisters, burnings of their own in the distance and along your side. A sea of pinpoints, a constellation of memories. Each burns bright, then flickers. Then two more take its place, or not forever, lest the void fills with rancid light that sucks the thought. Each of our minds is actually the emptiness, and the learnings of the scrolls are the pinpoints. Without their stabbing light, my consciousness would be as a vast nothingness. Unknowing its emptiness as a void is unknowing of itself. But the burnings are dangerous, and must be carefully tended and minded and brought to themselves as prey to their siblings. I think that guy was rambling a little bit there, was he not? I don't want to do that, I don't think. No, it's nothing to do with it. Blades, yeah, I don't think so. Yes.
I don't want to see you treating any of these books poorly. Are we clear?
This Nations book is incomprehensible.
Aye, that's the work of Septimus Cygnus. He's the world's master of the nature of Elder Scrolls. But, well, he's been gone for a long while. Too long.
He's dead?
Oh no, I hope not. But even I haven't seen him in years. And we were close. Became obsessed with the Dwemer. Took off north saying he had found some old artifact. Haven't seen him since. Somewhere in the ice fields, if you want to try to find him.
Right, okay. Septimus Cygnus, okay then.
Confound it all! This page too! That makes 5 in total. This is unacceptable!
There's something the matter.
A page from one of these texts, and 4 others, torn right from the spine. I've consulted with Urog's apprentice girl, and she insisted, rather emphatically, that none of these tomes have been checked out for years. I told the girl that wouldn't preclude a thief from browsing the cases.
Mistakes happen, you shouldn't be so harsh.
I don't blame her, though. It's the head librarian's duty to keep more sensitive texts behind sealed doors. Or perhaps it's the fault of the one who trained him. In either case, the result is the same. It is as I feared. Someone has managed to steal key pages from the writings of Trectus.
No one will miss a few pages from the works of some nameless scribe.
You need to brush up on your history. Or stop to listen when professors are lecturing. Although I admit Travis's voice is its own sleep spell. This nameless scribe you speak of is Vanus Galarion, founder of the Mages Guild.
What? How does a master grow up made such an obvious error?
It is not an error. It's far more likely that Urog holds an opposing position regarding the substance of these texts. Not to mention a stubborn refusal to recognize that a controversial theory might actually have merit.
What controversial theory?
The majority of scholars are split between 2 disparate camps. Some believe the texts are worthless scribbles written by a child, one who had yet to grasp the vastness of his destiny. Others contend that the author is not Vanus himself, but a pretender hoping to profit from the mage's name. Both camps, however, are in agreement that the texts themselves have no intellectual merit.
So I search for them if scholars believe them worthless.
There are some, however, who attribute the text to a different origin. Not the young Trictus, but the elder Vanus Galarian. The theory states that Vanus wrote the text in the guise of his younger self, precisely so that scholars would question its authenticity. By diverting the eyes of those who seek power, it provided an extra layer of security, in addition to the cryptic nature of the text itself.
What exactly is in these texts?
I mentioned the pages from 5 separate texts were stolen. This is no coincidence. I'm sure you can divine why.
Ah, yes, I know. One for each school of magic.
Exactly. According to the theory, there was purpose to Galarian's decision to divide his childhood journals into 5 parts. Contained within each was a tale that alluded to spells and techniques, authored by a specific school.
So how do schools of magic relate to the texts?
It is well known that Galarian's gifts for magic were quite diverse. He could restore a rose to full bloom not long after burning it aflame, all the while fooling the mind into believing its scent had rotted away.
In other words, the spells involve multiple disciplines.
The theory goes that Galarian was on the verge of completing 5 new spells, one for each school. Spells of such tremendous power that even the immortal armies of Manimarco would countenance their fear. Unfortunately, Galarian's obsession with his nemesis deprived him of his patience. Nevertheless, before he embarked on the great battle, he left notes encoded in 5 works, so others could continue his research.
Do you have any idea who stole the pages?
I have an inkling. I was able to glean some clues based on my interviews of the residents of Winterhold, who seem far more observant of mages than the faculty. I sent my assistant, Jado Ra, to investigate the matter further, but I fear something grave has befallen him.
Well, find out what happened to him.
Finally, someone with initiative. I need someone to scout the area he was investigating. Your safety is paramount. If the mage in question is at the site, do not attempt to confront him, even if Jado Ra is in imminent danger.
Why not?
The Khajiit is a crafty one. He will leave clues behind even in death. Yet if you sacrifice both your lives, both your efforts will be squandered.
Okay. Alright, let's see what I can find out.
Good. Jado Ra last left for Solitude, but it is unlikely he is still there. I would start with the caverns near the shoreline. If you find him, and find him well, he may ask for a passphrase.
If he's working undercover, I can see how a passphrase would be useful.
Yes. The problem is, I seem to have forgotten that inscrutable Khajiit word he gave me. So in exchange, I ask you to tell him this. Tell him how, when I met him, I mocked his whiskers, how they were as black as an Imperial's hair. Tell him that his eyes are so narrow that even when he laughs he looks unhappy. Yet their color still shines as bright as the sun. And if he finds that too sentimental, tell him he was more valuable as a rug, and when he accidentally lights his fur on fire, he would no longer be worth anything to anyone.
Wait a minute.
Greetings.
I'm interested in how Galarian coded his texts.
Each book is a cleverly crafted tale that hints towards the ideals of a particular school of magic. However, the overall narrative is unimportant. From what I have gathered in my time here, it seems the school of magic is simply a mechanism. For instance, I found lighting a text with an alteration spell revealed a hidden message written in an ink altered to mimic a human soul. Of course, without the knowledge to light the aura of life aglow, the mage's search would end there. The chain continues until one reaches the destination. The final pages that contain detailed notes on the crafting of a new spell.
May I see the text?
I'm afraid not. The texts are evidence, and the methods Galerion used to encode the journals must undergo further study. Once I have informed Urog of his omission, he will add the works to this library's collection, along with the missing pages, should they be retrieved. If you have scholarly interest, however, I can share with you the 5 tales of Galerion's youth. They are quite interesting.
Okay, let's go to the beginning. Tell me the first story.
As a young child, Galerion's father bought books from smugglers in order to teach his son how to read. As serfs of a minor nobleman, Lord Jeunesse of Solakik-on-Kur, such knowledge was strictly forbidden. Galerion recounted how his father taught him to avert his eyes at every signpost, and to speak with improper diction. Most of all, he warned him not to reference the tales he read, but more importantly, the cities, beasts, and forests contained therein. For the spell would be broken the instant their lord realized the boy knew things his eyes could not see.
Okay. What about the second text?
Galerion's mother was an old-fashioned woman, one comfortable with her station. She never wanted to deprive Galerion of knowledge. She was, however, fearful of the consequences. A seed of dread was planted in her mind, and grew into a forest of despair. It was only a matter of time before her husband or her child would slip and betray their literacy. In truth, Lord Jeunesse suspected nothing, but in her reality, she saw her husband on the gallows, and through her actions, she made it true.
And the third text.
Vanessa's father died from the crime of literacy. He was hung, his body left out for weeks as the sweltering heat bubbled the skin of his fetid corpse. The effigy itself was gruesome, but so was the cruelty of Lord Jeunesse. He forced Galerion to scrub the gallows every day, as his father hung lifelessly above him. He held the lessons of his father close to his heart, and never spoke an indignant word, no matter how callously the nobleman prodded him. However, if one stayed awake past the dead of night, one could hear the violence echoing from the basement of the servants' quarters.
And the fourth text.
As a child, Vanus Galerion escaped his birth home of Solakik-on-Kur. He simply crept out of his quarters one night and ran. He never stopped running. He had trekked halfway across the Somerset Isle when he reached the shores of Alinor. There was nowhere left to run. Exhausted, he collapsed in a ditch. It is there that a band of troubadours found his body and nursed him back to health. They employed him as an errand boy and gave him food and shelter, and the life he had seemingly lost was somehow returned to him.
And the tale from the fifth and final text in the last school of magic.
Vanus Galerion once ran with a group of troubadours. They performed from city to city, regaling crowds with their song and flair. One of them was a former jester, a man with deft hands. From out of the ether he would withdraw a bouquet of flowers or a septum from your ear. However, it was the group as a whole who cast a spell on the young boy, drawing a smile that had been lost to the void.
Well, that's enough for now.
As you will.
So who are you exactly?
My name is Olivia Moronin, a former member of the Mages Guild at the Arcane University in Cyrodiil. When the guild disbanded, many of my colleagues regrouped to form the Synod. However, their objectives do not align with the tenets Galerion and the Council established when they founded the guild. Nor do they abide by the teachings we have stood by in the centuries that followed. Theirs is an organization based on cupidity and lust for power.
Yeah, sounds like my kind of people.
Then I question the sense of your professors, as they are the ones who so glibly allowed your admittance into this institution.
So what are your thoughts on the college?
The college itself is a breathtaking wonder, a citadel of knowledge, standing high over the waves of ignorance. It is a fortress of higher thinking, buttressing its residents from the storms of indolence. However, while the students show an alacrity to learn, I am not entirely fond of the professors, who seem far too concerned with their own research.
What don't you like about their methods?
Although the necessity for research is vital, their failure to involve students in the process is disheartening. Whether it is fear for their safety or disinterest educating them, I cannot brook such a gross disinterest in the instruction of young minds. Only Tofter seems interested in performing his duties responsibly, but I have reservations in the manner with which he carries them.
Okay.
Until next time.
I don't know if anybody else to speak to in here. I don't think so. Not I can see. So. Film or study, what's that? Serbian bestiary, autonomous. I have no idea what that is. Well. So. Right. I don't know where these texts are. Just looking for it.
What you learn here will last you a lifetime. Several, if you're talented. All right, then.
Time is it? Right, okay. I think it might be time for a little nap. At least type of think to what she's going to do next. I think she possibly might go and try and find where that Septimus guy is. So she'll probably bring Serana along with her companions.
It's lies. All of it. I don't care what she told you. It's all lies.
I've no idea what you're talking about.
No? Well, then she hasn't gotten to you yet. But she will. And don't you believe a word of it.
What do you know about Ancano?
Don't trust that one. He's up to something. Most here are up to something, of course, but in his case, it's not good. I haven't figured it out yet, but I will. He is rather handsome, though, isn't he?
So I could use some help.
Well, I suppose I could use a hand with something, yes. Feralda's working on something, and I want to know what it is. I want her notes. You think you could get them for me without her knowing?
What's in it for me?
I'll throw some money at you. Good enough?
Yep.
Just get the notes and bring them to me. If you can't do it, I'll find some other way to manage it.
What's your problem with Feralda anyway?
My problem with her? She's the one who has a problem with me. She's threatened by me, by my skill as a wizard, by my elegance and posture, by my superior good looks. But she is not going to get the better of me. Oh no, I won't let it get to me one bit. That's what she's after. She's trying to undermine my confidence, make me doubt myself. Well, it won't work, I tell you.
Okay. Fine. Okay. Where does he keep our research notes? Right, let's see. Okay, fine. Okay, let's head downstairs then, to our own quarters. Oh, enchanting table. I'll check something. Yeah, right. I'll disenchant that just now, just in case I want to make some more potions of some sort. Try this. Oh well. Go and sleep on it.
I feel hungry.
Where are we?
But I just can't help feeling, well, hungry.
That says there.
I'm hungry.
Is she upstairs?
I'm feeling hungry.
Oh, what's this? I know. Fast asleep. Right. Cheers.
What now?
Hungry, sir? Shall I feed you?
I just need to feed on blood. Your dragon blood.
Come on then, drink from me.
Thank you.
Feel better?
It's so good. But what about you? Maybe you could let me help. If that's all right.
I'm good for now, thanks, Anna.
All right then.
Okay. It's been a long day, so I think it's time for a sleep. Right. And I will see you next time. So, goodbye for now.